because the next question I got on my sheet here, just to make a point on the question that we've just had from Roy, I just wondered if the three people sat here have heard of the whips. When we've got the three-line whip, I just wondered if that answer that we've just had from them would be quite as strong. But we'll see. And we'll obviously, in the Chronicle, you'll read how they vote. When we get to contentious issues, we can always say we voted against their party. It's always handy just to name them. And sometimes it shows some real commitments, and sometimes it shows otherwise. But I wanted to bring in Victor Carbon. Yeah, Victor, if you could ask your question related to the tuition fees, it would just roll off straight into the real fluke that I've got handled.
Thank you very much. I graduated from university in June last year. I am painfully aware of the shortage of funding for universities, having spoken to fellow students and, more importantly, to tutors. The Lib-Dems and the Tories in government have come up with a progressive policy, or that no one wants to pay more, but the policy means that you only start paying not at £50,000 when you're earning £50,000 as Labour pay, but when you're earning over £20,000. And that debt is then taken, the interest on that debt is then taken according to earnings thereafter. This is a credible policy that once solves university problems, as well as... my question is, why do Labour insist on barricking from the sidelines rather than coming up with concrete proposals themselves, so a proper debate we have, not just saying, no, it's wrong?
Okay. We've got the situation of the graduates in the debate. I'll go back to Owen really, because you need to come back on that one. You started off on that.
Well, let's look at some of the positive side of things. The majority of students in Oldham are part-time students. Until today, they would have to pay all their fees up front. We've now got a system where they pay absolutely nothing until they're on reducing wage. Now that's favouring the majority of students in Oldham. Secondly, we look at in terms of people being able to pay back nothing until they're earning £21,000. And if you look at some of the figures, somebody who is on a salary of £30,000 will be paying back £60,000 a month for their course fees. Now, I've talked to a lot of people that don't see that as reasonable, but we have to make savings somewhere. We have to make cuts in order to balance our budgets. I'm very proud that in terms of the educational budget, what we have done is prioritise apprenticeships. Now, in Oldham, we still are a manufacturing town, and we are going to have more apprenticeships for young people than Oldham's ever had. That's where we're putting the money into in our town, and I'm very proud of the fact that that's something that the coalition is doing, because we recognise the need for youngsters to be trained up to have proper jobs in proper industries making things.
Where are you going to work?
An important issue, and a complicated one, so it's therefore a slightly longer answer. Labour introduced tuition fees, and they didn't introduce them when times were hard and we had a financial crisis like we do now. They introduced them because they believe those who benefit from higher education should fund or pay towards that higher education. And I'm not sure I'm particularly sympathetic to that principle, but what's absolutely clear is there are cuts being made to the higher education budget to bring public finances into control, and that means tuition fees going up. Everyone anticipated this with the Brown Review. Long before the last election, the Brown Review, which the Labour government set up, and the Labour government and the Tories committed themselves to, it was widely anticipated there was going to be a recommendation for an increase in tuition fees, because as a country we're not willing to pay more taxes to fund these sort of things. So I think we need to be realistic and adult about these things. I think one of the reasons there's so much anger against is because before the elections they were talking about scrapping fees, whereas the realistic scenario was there was going to be an increase in fees because of what Brown was saying. We then have the situation where the Conservatives and the Lib-Dems have proposed a policy, and I'm not going to go into the details about that, but what I'm going to ask you to take into account, what's really important, is comparing like with like. Do not compare the current policy, where fees would normally only be allowed to go up to 6,000 and not the 9,000, unless there's special circumstances, with a position where you have no fees. Compare it with what would have realistically happened had Labour won the election. Brown recommended uncapped fees, and and that's something we've ruled out. But at the time, people like Alan Johnson were saying no to graduate tax, Blair said no to graduate tax, they were going to support an increase in fees. Now they're saying we support a graduate tax, and that would mean paying higher tax for the rest of your working life. That's what it would mean in effect. And starting to pay when you have over £6,500 of earnings or thereabouts. So comparing like for like, our measures are much better, much more progressive. Labour have no alternative again. It'd be nice in an ideal world if there were no fees, but we're not there, and people aren't willing to support that or pay higher taxes for those purposes. So the situation we're in, it's Labour-led, it was inevitable, everyone knew about it and anticipated it before the election. We've got to make sure that the increases that do take place do not deter people from higher education. That should be a priority. And I think if it becomes clear it is deterring people, keep an open mind, feed back into government that this needs to be something we can't carry on looking at. And I'm really concerned about it, but we're in the mess we're in, and we've got to deal with it. And I hope we're going to be adults in looking at this today.
Why should the young pay for it? Why should the young people have to pay for it?
Okay, well,
why shouldn't they? What? At that extent?
okay, let me just say there was no Labour alternative. What's your view on that?
Well, there is, but let me just say, I mean, very briefly, there's a number of comments from the Lib-Dem tonight. I really do need to stress that point. I know founders as I've been knocking on the doors and said, our family isn't even considering now our youth to go to university. This is a real deterrent for young people to go to. Nobody wants to end up with a debt that's hanging around their neck. To that level, my kids have just finished university and thank heaven. But they'll be in their 50s before they pay off their debt. It is an unfair way of doing it. What we have said is we want to look at about implementing a graduate tax, which is based on income. So potentially, two people doing exactly the same course, one becomes a librarian, one becomes an investment banker. The investment banker should pay. And he should pay based on his income that he earns a lot as a result of his course. So this is the important. This is the important. It's about fairness. It's about introducing a two-tier system about who can pay and who can't. It's about taking universities out of being public institutions. They're recognised and valued all over the world for that level of independence. And you're introducing a market into the university system. As I say, it affects the poorest, it will put them off, and affects social mobility as well.
I will let others come back in here from the table, but this is obviously one of the hot topics. You've obviously, one or two of you have got to share it out. I'd urge you not to. We will go back and give you the chance to speak. But if a couple of you want to raise your hands to make a point on this issue, then I'm quite happy to take it. Yes, madam, would you try to speak earlier? Just 1 second, Steve will come down to the microphone and he'll reveal everybody will hear you check.
Can we just go back to earlier where you asked people to state where they were from?
Yes.
I'm actually from Shaw, and I was born and bred in Shaw. Went to university having attended a local comprehensive school on a full grant because both my parents were from a manufacturing background. If Mr Watkins successfully challenged his defeat in the general election on the grounds that the Whig candidate had lied, can he comment on the blatant lie told by the Liberal Democrat Party leader, Nick Clegg, who was peacefully placed before the election increasing tuition fees, but then voted for a trebling of tuition fees?
What I was asking you to do, man, rather than asking a question, I wanted you to make your point that we can have a bit of a discussion about this now. There's no point in repeating the questions about tuition fees. We're on the debate.
Obviously, this young man, I don't think he's from the local area. Am I wrong?
I'm from up the hill and went to Stanley School, actually. So I am.
Have you got points to make that for you? We'll have to say 15 all there. Anybody else who contribute to the debate, or should we have I'll come back to you, sir, in a second. Is that mic working, Steve, or is it?
I left school at 16, almost forced to leave school because both my parents couldn't afford for me to go to university. With the tuition fees being introduced, what you're going to find is that tipping point of children who are capable of going to university, the families will just not be able to afford them to go. You know, it's a disgrace.
And so, will you put your hand back up so Steve can find you?
Sorry, I just want to clarify, I'm Glasgow. I apologise for my accent. The gentleman who shouted out, why should young people pay? Unless you're going to volunteer to pay for my education, how else is it going to be funded?
You were challenged, so you might as well be given the right to reply. The gentleman on the far left.
We're not going around the auditorium there, thanks.
Yeah, you've got to be enough to get into the room so that somebody has to run about.
Thank you. When I said the young people or why young people should pay, I wasn't actually saying that they shouldn't pay anything. But what they're being asked to pay, the hike in tuition fees, is ridiculous. This government has cut 80% from the funding for universities. And that has fallen on families, like families in Oldham, to support their children in aspiring to a better future. That's why I got so worked up to shout out. And the gentleman turned around and said, why shouldn't they? Of course everybody should pay according to their means. But let's make it fair to raise it from 3,000 to 9,000. And to shout about deficits and loading that onto people and not seeing what difference it will make to communities and aspirations of people to achieve something better is beyond me.
Thank you. The gentleman, sorry, three of them, just to say something briefly to finish that off. I do want to get one more question in before we have a break, so Albert, do you want to come back?
It's important that people get the tax rate in, don't scare them. Not one single student in any single university on any single course will pay a penny up front. The only time they will pay any money back is when they're in a good job and in a position to pay that. And I give you an example, somebody on £30,000 a year will be paying £6 a month back to help pay off their money. Yes, I agree, and I agree with cash, we have to be adults about this. If we're going to get more and more people to university, unless there's an actual alternative. What you suggested? It was Alan Johnson himself, your shadow treasurer, who actually said that business graduate taxes were unworkable. We didn't get to have any details of it. And I will not take any lectures from the Labour Party who brought in top-up fees when they promised they wouldn't do, or brought up tuition fees when they promised they wouldn't do.
Yeah, just have a quick comment. I think we had a fair run at that, to be fair. I think you said most of what you wanted to say. If you can go into